Start with your presentation, please.
Okay, excellent, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for being here today with us. My name is Antonio. I am together with my colleague Jakub, and we are speaking from Seabury, okay, in partnership and sponsored by Belmet 97, okay, for this common project of augmented reality to overcome the traditional challenges of welding training. We are going to give this webinar in English, so if you have any issue with the language, please feel free to later on ask questions in Croatian or whatever language, and we will be able to translate as well, okay? Well, first of all, for those that don't know us yet, we are Seabury. We are the developers of this solution that we have here, which is the leading simulator, the leading skills training solution for welding, okay? We are experts in augmented reality. We have delivered more than 5,000 of these systems in more than 75 countries nowadays, and we can say that we are the leaders in the category, okay? We are the most innovative technology for welding training solutions. The reason why we decided to make this solution is because welding is extremely important in today's industry, okay? Everywhere, in every place that you go, you will find welding somewhere. You will find it in your house, you will find it in the cars, in the airplanes, in the trains, everywhere, okay? And that is very important because there is a tremendous shortage of welders in the world. In general, whatever metal-related industry needs more and better welders, okay? Just to tell you a fact, 80% of welders in the EU, in the United States, and also in Europe are over 55 years old, okay? So you can imagine when they retire, which is pretty soon, what are we going to do? So therefore, we can say that we have an issue and we have a challenge and responsibility from the education point of view. Industry 4.0 is here to help as well. Technologies like augmented reality are going to make both the production more efficient when it comes to welding production, but also welding training more efficient. Augmented reality is just an example of that, okay? Also, the COVID has made it more and more imperative to digitalize different types of solutions. And this is one clear example. In the education system, we can see that everything is digitalizing, okay? And even practical manual skills like this one. Furthermore, we can see that the trend of the industry is to automate, yeah? Is to get robots to replace human. But in the welding industry, this is an opportunity, but it's also a challenge. And the challenge is that you find operators that know robotics, they know how to handle robots, and you have operators that know welding. But very rarely you will find one single operator that knows both things together, right? And that is a very special challenge that we are also able now to answer to, okay? So the proposal of the solution is what you see in the screen. It's what we call an augmented lab, right? An augmented lab is the combination of a simulation area, which is what you see on the left side, which is where we are right now, okay? What you see right now here is a totally clean, white office classroom space with no industrial machinery, no fume extractors, therefore no danger, no risk, no hazards, and so on, okay? Can you still see my screen?
Right now, no.
I think it's gone. No. I will put it back.
No. No.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Excellent. Second. So the proposal of the solution is that the students are going to be training 50%, 60% of the time in this environment, in this safe, efficient, motivational, green environment, okay? They're going to be training especially the muscle memory. Once they have trained the muscle memory, once they know what they are doing, then they will go to the right side, which is behind those black curtains. That is the real workshop. That is the real workshop with fume extractors, with hazards, with machinery, with real materials, and so on. By doing that, we are shortening up the learning curve very, very much, okay? And therefore, we will have different type of benefits that I will show you in a second. This methodology, the combination of this white, clean area and the real workshop, that is called augmented training, okay? And that methodology is fully supported by a software, an e-learning software that you find here, that basically what it does is coordinate, digitalize the welding training program in full synchronization with the simulators, okay? You will see this also in the live session that we're going to provide you in a few minutes, okay? So the application of this augmented training methodology will have a number of benefits, okay? The main benefits, as you can imagine, is that we are going to reduce the time of the real workshop, okay? Because we are going to spend a good important amount of time in this simulation environment, okay? So we are going to reduce the time that we can have a high cost for the production of the training, like cost in materials, like steel, like the consumables, like the gases, and so on. Therefore, we are going to be reducing the cost. We are going to have savings, okay? And that is very, very important. The quality of the training is also going to increase because in the same amount of time, the same student is going to be able to practice more here than there. That means that in 1 hour, imagine in 1 hour in the real workshop, a student may be able to make 3 or 4 exercises, okay? Because they need to prepare the coupons, they need to clean it, to cut it, etc. Here, however, they will just be a matter of clicking some buttons and they will be doing welding, which is the real skill that we want to look after, okay? And of course, no risk, okay? That is very, very important. This is a dangerous skill, so no risk in this area. Very green technology, also very important. You know that the EU Commission, this is one of the main objectives of the EU Commission, green economy. And also, I would say even more interesting, very, very motivational, okay? If you take a 15 years old, 16 years old to a place like this, you will find that they are very motivated to try, very motivated to make exercises. If you bring them to the real workshop, they will feel a little bit scared, they will feel in danger, okay? But it's very important, remember, this solution is to complement the real workshop, okay? Not to replace it, that is important to know. So this solution is being adopted now by the education sector and also the industrial sector. This picture here that you can see is from Daimler Mercedes, okay? This welder in the picture is actually welding a coupon like this coupon here inside of the car, okay? That you can see in my hands. And that for us is very important because by doing that, we get more and more feedback from the industry in order to continuously develop this technology, okay? So we are continuously releasing new functionalities, new improvements in the software, and so on. And also, key to mention, I would like you to know this, is that this system is not only for manual welding, as we said, it's also for robotic welding, okay? So that means that it can be connected to a real robot, and you can be doing the simulation by working with a real robot as well, okay? This is key, because even though robotic welding is not yet in the curriculum for training, for welding, it's going to be, because there is a tremendous need for robotic welding operators in the industry. So we are already able to provide a solution to the government for that, okay? All right, so now we are going to make this a little bit more interactive, and we are going to provide you with a live demonstration of the system so that you can fully understand how this works. both from the perspective of the teacher and from the perspective of the student, okay? If you had any question in the meantime, you know that there is a button to raise your hand. Feel free to use it, okay? And we will clarify during the demonstration. Okay, so I have stopped sharing my screen, and what I'm going to do is show you first the components of this system, okay? What you see on top of this table is the simulator, okay? This is the main component, yeah? As you can see, this looks like a real welding machine. It's quite light, okay? It weighs less than 13 kilos. And the idea is that it looks as realistic as possible, okay? It is so realistic that the actual helmet that you can see here that is connected is also real, okay? You can see the helmet is real, but here we have two little cameras, okay? You may notice two little holes, so there are two little cameras. Through those cameras, the student is going to be viewing the reality, the augmented reality, okay, through this screen that is inside of the helmet. And the reason for those cameras is that they are going to be looking at QR codes that you find here, okay? We call these markers. These markers are going to be present in the torches, which are also real, okay? These are 100% real torches. If you put them in a real power source, they work, and this is key. Why is this key? Because when you are training with a real torch, you are developing your muscle memory, okay? If it is a plastic torch, you are not really developing muscle memory. So that is why this is so important. The cable is heavy because it's real, and the torch is exactly the same that they will find in the real workshop, okay? So this is a Micmac torch. We also have a TIG torch as well, so we can support also TIG process. You can see that it also contains the QR codes here. And we will be also supporting the electrode that is here. There we go. So here we have the electrode holder, okay? And here we will have the consumable, the electrode rod. You will notice that here there is a little engine, okay? And the reason for the engine is that when I place the electrode and I am welding, you will see that the electrode is going to be consuming. It's going to be moving because I'm going to be pushing the electrode. I'm going to be simulating the push of the electrode, okay? So that is very, very important to practice the electrode. And then you will find that the coupons, yeah, we call these coupons, they also have the QR codes because the system is going to be also reading this information, okay? We have different type of coupons. We have what we call the standard certification coupons, okay? These coupons are the ones present in the curriculum for welding training in every country, okay? So this is international, okay? And then we also have coupons that answer to the question of different industries, okay? For instance, this coupon is developed for the railway sector, okay? It's developed together with Alstom, the railway manufacturer in France. Or for instance, this coupon is developed for world skills, for the competitions, okay? For the national competitions. See? So we have different type of coupons depending on the purpose of the training. So if the purpose of the training is very basic and standard, then we could be working with the standard coupons that are on this table. If they require a different higher level of coupons or challenges, we have also a big catalog of 15 coupons like that, okay? Now, we are going to show you in the screen how the simulator looks like from the inside, okay, as a student, okay? Let's say that I convert now into a student. What you see in the screen is what I see in the actual simulator, okay? So you will find that I have here different names, okay? And that's why the students, they will have each of them a profile, an individual profile, okay? So I will use, for instance, this one, Antonio Fernandez, which is myself, okay? And then when I log in, I will find that I have, for instance, a course assigned, okay? In this course, I will have different things. I can have theoretical contents, I can have quizzes, I can have exercises, and all of that you can upload yourself as well, okay? You will have a predefined number of theoretical contents, and you will be able also to generate your own contents on your own, okay? What we are going to see first is how the simulation works. So we are going to make an example, okay? Here you can see previous exercises that I have done myself, okay? And now we are going to configure one exercise, okay? So first we will choose the type of coupon that we want to use. If it is one of the standard ones, one of the advanced, or if it is any of the robotics or industrial ones, okay? So for this purpose, we are going to use the standard ones. We are going to use actually a T-joint that is in this work stand that you find here. With this work stand, by the way, we can make different type of positions and angles, okay? Then we will be able to choose the difficulty level. We will be able to choose if we want the system to help the student or not, etc. Okay, so we are going to put it in intermediate, and we want the system to help me. Okay, we want the system to give me assistance. Then we will select the coupon. As you can see, I have here all the standard coupons, yeah, education coupons we call them. Then we will choose the position, okay, which can be overhead, it can be flat, it can be 3F, 1F, whatever. Then we choose the welding material that we are going to simulate, which can be carbon steel, stainless steel, or aluminum. Let's choose carbon steel. Then we choose also the thickness, for instance, 6 millimeters. We choose the process, yeah, as we said, we can do any of these processes, yeah, and that is important. The student will need to configure the actual torch, okay, so if we choose TIG, for instance, I will need to remove my torch from here physically, and I will need to put the TIG torch, okay? This is also quite important for the learning procedure of welding. Then we select the wire, the diameter of the wire, the type of gas. We are going to select also the length of the welding, the number of passes. All of these that you can see can be configured either here or pre-configured by the teacher, okay? So that the student doesn't need to go through all of this. And finally, what we see is what we call the welding procedure specification, which is the actual job that the student needs to do, okay? Right, now what you are going to see in the screen is what I see through the camera, okay? So you will notice that through the camera, I can see the reality. For instance, I can see Jakub here, I can see my hand, yeah? And what I'm going to do is that I will activate augmented reality. Once I activate augmented reality, the QR codes are becoming a carbon steel T-joint in a PV position. I can even place my hand on it. I can interact with it, okay? This is augmented reality. That means that you can interact with the different elements, okay? You will notice also on the top bar that I have the welding parameters, okay? So I have, for instance, here the voltage. So if I went to the control panel, from the control panel, I can adjust the different parameters, for instance, the voltage. I can increase the voltage. And then the system is telling me, watch out, you are making a mistake. You should put it lower. There you go. Same for the wire free speed, okay? Or for the gas, or for the amperage, whatever, okay? All of that can be configured. See, this will be the amperage, okay? Then I will take my torch, and you will notice that the torch becomes also virtual, okay? And it has some different green and red icons. Those green and red icons are going to give me feedback, live feedback, about the performance of my technique, okay? And this is very important because by following this guide, the student is going to be developing the muscle memory, okay? So I'm going to put my helmet now, and I'm going to perform a weld from here to here, okay? There we go. The blue arrows that you can see are giving me the speed, okay? That is the speed that I need to follow. If I went too slow, you will see, they become red, you see? If I went too fast, as well. Or if I went too far away, the system becomes red as well. You can see this one. See?
Can we look at the light now?
There we go. So I can even take the welding coupon, you see? I can interact with it, I can look at it. And this will be exactly the same that we could do, let's say, in the real workshop, okay? In the real welding workshop. But what is more interesting is that now, when I go to the system, I can ask the system for feedback, okay? So the system is going to provide feedback to the student quickly, okay, in a very autonomous way. And this is very interesting because they will have a quicker chance to continue practicing, okay, with this feedback. So what you see in the screen is a mixture of different parameters that you have here, okay, work angle, the travel angle, the contact distance to the workpiece, the travel speed, the aim. You will have a score for every of these technique parameters, okay? And the average is this, 86, okay? All of this is in a 100 scale. To pass, the student needs to get 90. So that means that I didn't pass, okay? I failed this exercise. Why did I fail? Because especially my travel speed, I can see that was 68, it was too low. My contact distance to the workpiece and the travel angle were also below 90, but not too bad, okay? If I was able to get a little bit more here, I would have been able to pass because my work angle and my aim were pretty good. So this is the quick read of the student. The student understands that he or she needs to practice on the travel speed because he went too slow, I went too slow, and too fast, okay? But not only that, I will be able to even look at the weld again, okay? I will be able to look at the simulation, see? Not only to look at it, but I can even replay the exercise, okay? So me as a student, I can look at exactly what I have done, okay? And this is so nice for a student to see himself, okay? This is also very interesting to promote cooperation and competition, because when you have, let's say, two students, okay, or a group of students, they will want to beat each other, okay? And they will learn from each other. They will learn from what they are doing wrong, what they are doing well, and so on. So working together in this type of methodology is very positive. Apart from that, this information that we can see in the simulator is going to be stored in a server, okay? And that server is going to be fully accessible through a platform called e-learning, okay? This is the digitalization platform that we just talked about, okay? So here, for instance, I have the whole list of students, yeah? For instance, I have Antonio Fernandez. And here, from here, I will be able to read exactly what Antonio has been doing. And this is now me from my computer as a teacher, okay? I am not a student anymore right now. I'm a teacher in my computer that is totally connected and synchronized with all my welding simulators that I have in my classroom, okay? So by doing this, I can see that Antonio, for instance, when I compare it with the rest of the students, I can see that he, in the travel angle, he's having special difficulties, okay? He's behind the rest of the students, okay? I can also see the evolution of Antonio over the last 7 exercises. And not only that, I will be able to review every single exercise that Antonio has done, okay? Just to give you an example, this one that is failed is the one that we just right now did, okay? So that means that me as a teacher, I will be able to review the analysis module of the simulator. I will be able to see exactly the same that Antonio has been able to see in the simulator. See? Again, this is me from my computer again, okay? I am not in the simulator anymore. I am in my computer. And this, for a welding teacher, is so nice information, so important information to understand what the student has been effectively doing in the welding booth, okay? In this platform, as we said, you will find a number of contents, courses that are already predefined, okay? So you will have, for instance, this course. This is from the German Welding Society, for instance. It's actually in Arabic, this one, okay? But you will be able to even create your own courses, okay? Here you have different theoretical contents, exercises, quizzes, all of that. But you will be able, as we said, to create your own contents, okay? Just to give you an example. There we go. So for instance, there will be an example of a specific content that we have for robotic welding, okay? And all of that can be, as we said, acquired with the simulator, but you can create your own as well, okay? Or quizzes. Quizzes become like this, with a number of questions, number of answers per question, and so on. The students will be able to perform all of this content either from the simulator or from their own access to this e-learning platform, okay? They will also have access to this e-learning platform, okay? And one more thing is that the visibility, the synchronization of the student is not only after the exercise, it can be also during the exercise, okay? So I will show you an example in which we will be able to see the live performance of the student, okay? So I am going to open up a new exercise. And you will see that Antonio has just started a new exercise, okay? And that Antonio is going to be now welding. There you go. So now you can see my live performance, okay? You can see the live performance of my hand technique. And this is very, very interesting because imagine that you had, I will come back here, imagine that you had 10 simulators with 10 students working at the same time. You, from your computer, would be able to track what each of them are doing, okay? That gives you a lot of visibility and control. But apart from the statistics, you will be able to see, and again, this is now me from the teacher's computer. You will be able even to see the inside of the helmet. You will be able to even see what the student is exactly doing, okay? So you can see that I will be welding. And you can see that from your own computer live, okay? This is live information. Okay? I want to mention as well that all this simulation that you have seen, the level of detail, the graphics, and all of that, they are carefully crafted, okay? They are not happening by chance. Every single difference in the simulation, visuals and sounds, are coming from real videos of welding exercises that we are doing in our workshop, okay? So let's say that our simulation comes from a huge library of contents of welding exercises, okay? In different materials, in different processes, thicknesses, with different levels of voltage, amperage, and so on, okay? Right, well, and this is a short demonstration. There are many possibilities to continue doing stuff, but I would prefer to ask you openly what is your feedback, if you have anything to say, if you would like to ask anything, so that we can give you valuable information during this session, okay? Erika, feel free to, if you want to moderate, feel free, okay?
Yeah, Antonio, I think your presentation was great and it's very interesting. Okay.
Thank you.
Antonio je rekao, pretpostavljam da ste ga svi razumjeli, ako imate bilo kakva pitanja, evo slobodno sada uživo, ako ne možete napisati u chatu i to, pa ćemo mi pokušati odgovoriti s njima kasnije ili proslijediti poslije i tako. Uglavnom, evo, ako neko želi bilo kakvo pitanje, evo sad je slobodno, evo.
So maybe we can ask, in order to, make it a little bit more interactive, to raise the hand who finds that this could be interesting for their own, schools, colleges, and so on. But feel free to translate, yeah, just in case they don't get my message.
Okay, I think everybody understand you, but
There we go.
Kome se sviđa, nek digne ruku, evo, to je to.
You can either do it on the camera or you can also do it in the Microsoft Teams, okay?
I think everybody likes your presentation. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear.
But everybody is very shy and don't have any question now.
That's totally fine, totally fine. All right, well, apart from that, I would like to ask you what type, so just for everyone to know, I think that this is quite open. The level of investment that this requires is more than 25,000 euros. Okay, that is for everyone to know roughly, because there are many types of configurations. Is the government, or can you see plans for investment in the digitalization or for this type of quantities and this type of solutions in your own cases? And if you want, you can also raise, maybe not your hand because you already did, but you can use any of the other icons as well, like maybe the clapping or the heart. Or if you want to speak, feel free, okay? You can turn off your microphone and speak freely. Turn on, sorry, not off.
Hi.
Hello, Barbara.
Hello. I'm very satisfied with all these interaction and all was done very good. I just want to ask regarding this course about welding, how many days it takes and what is the price for this course and which companies had your approvals for do this course?
Right. So what we provide is the solution to make the courses. That means that in a normal case, and let me come back to the presentation, in a normal case, a school or a company, a training provider, they will have a classroom like this with simulators, okay? And they will have also a real environment, either inside or outside of the classroom, okay? A typical training can take 1 week or can take 9 months. It really depends on the length of the content, okay? Because welding is really, really complex and you have many different modules that you can train in welding. So there are companies or schools that provide a full course, 8 hours a day, full time. And there are companies that provide short courses of 1 to 2 weeks for you to get the basics of welding, let's say. In terms of companies, Barbara, we work with education sector, as we said, schools, colleges, universities, but also with industrial companies. Industrial companies like, for instance, Daimler Mercedes, okay, Volkswagen, Audi, the automotive sector, let's say, the railway sector as well. I'm talking about Siemens Mobility, okay, I'm talking about Alstom. When you go also to shipyards, in shipyards is also very common that they will train their own welders, so they will use this type of solutions as well. Construction companies, heavy machinery companies like John Deere, for instance, Caterpillar, they will be using this type of system. So it's quite available now in the industry.
Are the courses must be done, can be done online, or students must come to your school?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Is these courses can be done online, or there must be present of the students in your classroom?
So for the practical side, for the practical exercises, they will need, of course, to have access to, let's say, the real hardware elements. Okay, that means that they will need to come to a classroom, to wherever the units are, but they always have a window to the theoretical contents through this platform as well. Okay, so that means that they will be able to practice theory, okay, either full theory contents or quizzes on the e-learning. So they can do that online, and then they will need to, of course, be present in either this area or this area to make the practical exercises.
Thank you for all your answers.
Thank you, Barbara.
Antonio, I will tell something, okay. Ja bi se prije svega rekao, znači da smo mi novi u tome Belmet 97, znate i sami da se bavimo edukacijskom i didaktičkom opremom, znači ovo virtualno zavarivanje je i nama nekakva novost, tako da još to nismo imali u svojoj ponudi, a znači s obzirom da smo dobili povratne informacije da je to ljudima zanimljivo, školama, učilištima i tako dalje, naš sljedeći plan bi bio znači da mi prije svega bi imali nekakav demonstracijski uređaj, a onda imamo plan sa školama ili regionalnim centrima kompetencije da probamo organizirati na jednom mjestu ili pokretno nešto, da uglavnom da se može isprobati, da možemo napraviti nekakve tečajeve, nekakva školovanja i to, ali evo, to je sad u biti početna neka faza, tako da nekakve konkretne stvari vam ja trenutačno ne mogu dati, evo. Ali evo, drago mi je, nadam se da vam je to zanimljivo i ukoliko znači bude zainteresiranih, tako da mi ćemo u to velikim koracima ući kao i sve ostale kolege.
Što smo do sad napravili.
Tako je, da, evo. To je što se mene tiče, ako imate pitanje nekako za nas, znači slobodno kontaktirajte mene, ostavio sam mail u chatu, pa ćemo za dalje sve za bilo kakvu nekakav prezentaciju, nešto što bi mogli dogovoriti sa našim partnerima SOLDAMATICA, pa ćemo vidjeti za dalje. Evo.
Da ne ostane virtualno, jel?
Da, ne bi bilo dobro da samo bude virtualno, evo, to je to. Evo. Ima neko možda neko pitanje, slobodno recite, evo, nećemo vas. Ako ne...
Ovo je jedno pitanje kratko iz tehničke škole u Šibeniku. Zapravo mi bi išli u nekakva minimalno tako dva smjera. Prvo da se obuči donekle nas, ja govorim sad na razini škola, koji bi eventualno tu nešto djeci pokušavali, njih nadzirali i tako dalje, a onda tek krećemo u neku drugu fazu, tako da bi se to, kad bi to nekad neko uzeo, a mi zaista onda djecu i obučavali. Ili bi to mora biti neko vanjski ko bi s djecom radio?
Ne. Pod broj 1, znači sad upravo radimo na tom projektu gdje ćemo imati edukacije iz svih područja, a kao što sam rekao, znači ovo je nekakva novost koju imamo, ali ćemo i to staviti u naš znači, program što ćemo nuditi, tako da će biti edukacija iz virtualnog zavarivanja, to je isto u planu. To ćemo konkretno se uvijek možemo dogovoriti, tako da kogod želi nešto konkretno, slobodno se javite, evo sad kažem, to je nekakav početak. Evo.
Sa ovim RCK-ovima, budući da ste i vi RCK, mi smo vama već nudili jedan dobar dio edukacije, odnosno mogućnosti da se vi profesori educirate u različitim područjima i elektrotehnike i strojarstva i tako dalje. Ovo će biti jedna nova stvar koju ćemo samo dodati na tu ponudu edukacija koju smo vam i do sada već nudili.
Evo samo jedna zamolba, ako možete nam poslati mail ili nešto, jer ja ne mogu da ga pronađem na chatu, evo i kolega pokušava.
Nisam, samo malo.
Ne vidimo chat trenutno.
Ne vidite chat?
Da.
Dobro. Evo, pravo ste, sad ja sam ga mogu da napisam ponovo, evo.
A možete i reći, pa ćemo mi zapisati.
Može, perica.rimac
Mala slova, ja?
Chat se može uključiti, gore ima ova ikonica za chat.
Pa da, ali samo trenutak.
Čudno da nije.
Ne, ja sam, evo na chatu ima, kad kliknete gore na ovu ikonu gdje su, znači gore polu desno reći ćemo, znači imate bar svi imamo, pa kad kliknete na chat imate perica.rimac@belmed97.hr.
To mi je
Pokraj ova dva
problem,
čovječuljka
u ovom meetingu nam ne nudi chat da možemo koristiti, barem meni je jednostavno ne da. Koristila sam Teams dosta, pa jednostavno...
Onda isprika, ako neko, znači, još ću jednom ponoviti, znači perica.rimac
Dobro.
@belmed97.hr. S tim da koliko vidim, većina sa spiska već ima moj mail, tako da...
A mislim da je u pozivu da ste ga poslali.
Je, i u pozivu, ali ima već, poznajem sa više webinara, više ljudi koji su tu, tako da evo. Antonio?
Yes.
We speak with professor some technical stuff and everybody is interested, but we will contact with them after that. But my colleague Ivan have a question for you. Okay.
So Antonio, it's Ivan. I see from our guests here that they are also guests from the industry, not only from schools, universities, and so on. Can you say a couple of words why your system can be interesting also for the industry? Because, you know, if you ask our welders, they will say, I'm doing welds since I was 10 years old. You cannot teach me anything new. Can you please say something about that?
Definitely. Well, for the industry, the good thing of this is that this is very, very objective, okay? So the type of feedback that it gives, and I will come back to this. The type of feedback, I will open up one example, is very objective according to the welding specification, okay? So let me open one exercise, 1 second. This, for instance, is one that we just did as well, just before starting our webinar. There you go. So what you see here, this is objective feedback according to a WPS, okay? And that is what you really want also as a manufacturer. You want, as a manufacturer, to meet the exact, the WPS. You know, if the WPS is telling you that you need to weld at 4.8 millimeters per second, okay? You need to somehow measure that. And of course, you could do the weld, and then you can make a destructive or non-destructive test. You could do that, but that is going to be extremely expensive. Okay. The problem of the industry as well is that even welders are certified. Even if you hire welders that are already certified, they may not have the experience that it requires to make certain jobs. For instance, this here is welding in 20 from 15, okay, this is 15 to 25 millimeters thickness, okay? If you want then to practice on this type of thickness without using real materials, you can do it with this in a very objective way, again, measuring the WPS, okay? Or another example that I could give you is this. What you see here, this is a real coupon, okay? This is a real joint. This is from MAN, you know, the truck manufacturer, MAN. They had issues to make these different type of weldings, okay? You have here one, you have another one here, okay? And it was very expensive for them to let the students try on this. What did we do? This. This is personalized, this is customized. We can do this, we can customize coupons for industry, okay? So let's say we have two options for industry. We have already a catalog of coupons that they can use, or we can customize coupons for them in order, again, to get as close as possible to the reality of the production line, okay? I hope that is convincing, and that is, because that is what we're doing. I mean, just to give you an example, with one of the leading railway companies in the world, we have done more than 70 coupons like that, customized, okay? Fully customized. Because each of them, and we're talking about aluminum, big aluminum coupons, this size, each of them was costing them like 2,000 euros, okay? So imagine to train the welders on those coupons, if they had to use maybe 4, okay, how expensive it could be, yeah?
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you, Antonio.
Evo, ako imate još šta, pitajte. To je to šta.
Evo imam ja jedno pitanje iz tehničke škole, iz Gradiške. Pretpostavljam da ova oprema ne zahtijeva neko posebno održavanje, sem brisanje od prašine ili tako nešto.
Ne. Oprema je kao i većina didaktičke opreme sigurna s jedne strane za onoga ko rukuje s njom, s druge strane sama po sebi napravljena na takav način da ju nije baš najjednostavnije uništiti, oštetiti ili nešto slično. A kao što je Antonio rekao na početku, zapravo jedna od najvećih prednosti ovakvog sistema je što ne trošite ništa, ne trošite žicu, ne trošite elektrodu, ne trošite plinove itd. itd. Jasno, ne može u 100% zamijeniti trening na pravoj opremi, ali da ih se ipak dovede do određene razine, sigurno ćete potrošiti kasnije manje i na žicu, i na elektrode, i na materijal koji varite. Tako da vam u svakom slučaju može biti od nekakve koristi, čak i ako imate već radionice koje su opremljene, ajmo reći, pravom opremom za zavarivanje i tako dalje. Ali što se tiče nekakvog dodatnog održavanja ili nekakvog godišnjeg održavanja, ne postoji nešto tako. Nije predviđeno.
Hvala.
Imam jedno pitanje iz Obrtničke škole Koprivnica, znači vezano za opremu. Da li imate kakvu okvirnu cijenu, koliko košta oprema i da li je licenca doživotna ili je kao što kod Froniusa je licenca na godinu dana pa se doplaćiva svake godine?
Bilo je na početku prezentacije, stajao je točno komadić i pisalo je lifetime, dakle doživotna je licenca, nema, ja to zapravo zovem skrivenih troškova, dakle nema nekakvog troška koji će vas dočekati za godinu dana kad vam se ovaj ugasi i kaže nisi platio, ne možeš dalje, nema, dakle jedanput kad ga uzmete on je vaš. Jedino što se eventualno može doplatiti, to je ovo što je kolega rekao, dakle ako vas interesiraju novi modeli ili nekakvi modeli koji bi se radili po vašim nekakvim idejama ili tako dalje, to je onda, ajmo reći, ekstra, osim onih standardnih koji dolaze već sa softverom. Što se tiče cijene uređaja, vrlo teško odgovoriti zbog toga što uređaj nije jedan, odnosno ne postoji nekakav standardni uređaj, jer kao što ste vidjeli i on se sastoji od nekoliko različitih cjelina. Na primjer, TIG je uvijek posebno, drugim riječima on ne dolazi kao nekakav standardni komad opreme, nego njega dokupljujete posebno. Koliko će se vas baviti TIG-om, koliko se neće baviti TIG-om, to je drugi par rukava. MIG-MAG je, ajmo reći, kao nekakva osnova ili ako ćemo jednostavniji uređaj, dakle samo sa elektrodom. Tako da nije jednostavno odgovoriti na to pitanje. Naš dragi kolega je spomenuo cijenu od 25.000 eura. I to se može uzeti kao nekakav standard. Jasno, postoje jeftini uređaji, postoje skuplji uređaji od toga. Ali recimo za nekakvu orijentaciju, nekakvu cijenu osnovnog mjesta laboratorija, recimo to se može uzeti kao cijena.
Iako nemojte nas držati za riječ, jer ovo je sve tek
kažem,
početna faza ispitivanja i tako da... Evo.
Možda ispadne da smo mi, ne znam, tržište koje preferira skuplje uređaje ili jeftinije uređaje, ali evo, to je, ajde recimo, nekakva, ajmo reći, nekakva sredina.
Mislim, to je super stvar. Ja sam bio sa učenicima u Pragu u školi na Erasmus Plus mobilnosti, gdje su učenici u relativno 2 tjedna polovili jako veliki dio zavarivanja, ali nažalost većini škola će to biti nedostupno zbog velike cijene. Mi imamo jednu ponudu od Froniusa koja je poprilično velika i mislim da si rijetko koja škola može dopustiti takvu stvar. Ukoliko nema nekoga sponzora ili partnera.
Pa gledajte, ja smatram da će vam se tu dogoditi ista stvar kao što se dogodila sa pomorskim školama, ne znam da li je neko iz pomorske škole ovdje, gdje oni praktički svake godine dobivaju cifru koja je daleko veća od ovoga, od Ministarstva prometa, zbog toga što se smatra da su te škole interesantne i sa nekih drugih aspekata, ne samo sa edukacijskog i tako dalje i tako dalje. Prema tome, naša draga ostala ministarstva koja nisu, ajmo reći, vaša matična, dakle nije Ministarstvo znanosti i tako dalje, će najvjerojatnije imati nekakve programe, kao što recimo sada podržavaju neke programe na recimo pučkim otvorenim učilištima i u sklopu toga se kupuje i oprema. Recimo znam kakvo je stanje na primjer sa pučkim otvorenim u Zagrebu i koliko oni dobivaju takvih, ajmo reći, pomoći financijskih za kupnju opreme. Tako da pretpostavljam da neće biti nekakvog problema kod nabave ovakve opreme, pogotovo zato što ljudi koji izlaze iz vaše škole su u svakom slučaju deficitarni i interesantni za tržište rada.
Da, istina, ali velim, u startu je to poprilično veliki novac.
Sve znamo. Nažalost tako je, da. Svi bi mi htjeli imati ovakav laboratorij kao što oni imaju na fotografiji.
Mislim da u Hrvatskoj imaju samo 2 aparata su ovako. Jedan je u Đuro Đakoviću.
U Brodu, da, jedan je u
fakultetu.
Da. Pa onda valjda možemo još koji nabaviti nekako.
Da.
To je plan. Ako ništa, mi ćemo ga imati znači za nekako školovanje. To nam je plan sigurno, evo, definitivno. Tako da znate.
U metalskoj jezgri u Čakovcu isto imaju ovakav stroj isto.
Nismo vas čuli, oprostite.
U metalskoj jezgri u Čakovcu isto imaju nešto slično ovom uređaju.
Moguće.
Mene zanima je li ima kakva razlika za ljevoruke studente i zavarivanje u drugom smjeru.
Na engleskom, gospodine, to pitanje, molim vas. To je naš kolega.
Ovo je naš kolega.
Naš kolega, pa
So, Antonio, the question is there a difference between left-handed and right-handed welders?
Sorry, left what?
Left-handed and right-handed.
Oh, yes, of course, there is. Look. When you create a student, let's say, okay, you will be able to choose left and right hand, okay? And not only here, but also in the learning platform. When you want to create a new student, okay, one of the things that you will choose is the laterality. So of course that influences in the simulation, in the parameterization.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. To je to, ako više nema nikog pitanja, nećemo vas više zadržavati. Evo, ja vam se zahvaljujem svima na sudjelovanju, nadam se da je bilo poučno, meni je, zanimljivo, tako da evo, ostajemo dalje u kontaktu, što se bilo čega tiče, javite se, pitajte, pa evo, budemo pomogli koliko možemo.
Our plans, just for you to know, our plans are to, we are a company of more than 100 people, okay? And today, the only thing that we do is this. So you can expect that every single year, we are going to continue improving the system. Just to give you an example, now we are able to do, this is called open root with back end, okay? And all of this that you see here is a big investment of time to find out how welding behaves in these circumstances and how that can be simulated, okay? This, for instance, is very used in the shipyard industry. So we plan to continue expanding the possibilities, the catalog of coupons, functionalities, and so on in the next years. Another example will be, you find here this coupon with the little holes, yeah? This is for plug welding in the automotive industry, okay? Very important, with aluminum. So all of these, you will see that every year we're going to have more and more possibilities, and those possibilities you will be able, if you were a user of this, you will be able to acquire them as you go as well, okay, as your needs evolve. So that's our commitment and our plans for the next years for this technology.
Antonio, thank you very much for your presentation.
Our pleasure. If you have any question anytime, please feel free to address to Perica, Ivan, and we will be happy to help, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Regards from Spain.
Yeah. Hvala svima još jedanput i ugodan dan želim.
Zahvaljujemo, pozdrav.
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 Bye bye.
Pozdrav.
Pozdrav.
Bye.